Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have your Sun in Libra and Scorpio rising. Libra and Scorpio are adjacent signs in the zodiac. And when you look at what houses they represent, Libra represents the 7th house, which is committed partnership. And there are other things that the 7th house is about, like legal affairs and also public relations. But the 8th house, which is Scorpio's domain, is about the occult. And it's interesting because that word means hidden. And that really describes Scorpio to a T in two different ways. First of all, Scorpio people tend to be quite secretive, mysterious, and so they come across that way. But also they love to delve into subject matters that deal with things that are hidden. So the conspiracy theorist who doesn't believe what they hear and really investigates to find out the truth of a situation. The other thing that we can look at with these two signs to show the differences is that Libra is an air sign and Scorpio is a water sign. And so the air and water couldn't be more different. Air signs are detached, water signs are emotional. So what happens when someone has air and water in their personal points and they're trying to accomplish certain things in life? Well, the accomplishments we're going to attribute to or connect to the sun sign. So with Libra, the goals that, there's going to be professional goals, of course, but also Libra is very concerned with relationships, and I'm talking specifically about romantic relationships, because Libra rules the house of relationships, the 7th house. So that's like a big deal for most Libra individuals. Notice that I use the word most because the rising sign is kind of the calling card. It's your persona. It's how you carry yourself. And with Scorpio at the ascendant, this can be kind of a deterrent sometimes. It's a very strange thing. It can be a deterrent and something that's very alluring simultaneously, because Scorpio rising, if I'm looking at as a woman, who has this, there used to be a saying that was used a lot. Of course, times have changed, but they would say, a girl you don't bring home to mother. Well, I think they would usually say, this is a girl you can take home to mother. And now I realize what I said at first was from Rick James, Super Freak. He says, a girl you don't take home to mother, because there's like that, I was going to say unwholesome, and that sounds bad. What I mean is, and if you have Scorpio rising and you're a woman, you may be very, the femme fatale, who's kind of like sexy but dangerous. You know what I mean? And you seem like you've, been through it all. And you may, so you don't portray the innocence that we might actually associate with somebody if they had Libra rising. But there's almost with Libra rising an untouchable quality. Even though there can be beauty, it may be kind of a pristine beauty that is not as alluring as Scorpio. And there's also this angst that is coming out, maybe silently through the dress. The gothic type of clothing is indicative of that. Somebody who wears a lot of black, who wears a lot of dark makeup, even black lipstick, black fingernail polish, is trying to convey their emotions through their dress. Their mannerisms may be kind of guarded, crossing body language, putting your arms against your chest. I mean, I'm just making this up as I go along because I have no idea how it would manifest for the average person with Scorpio rising. I'm just thinking of it as a vibe. And you will be kind of wary of other people, especially, people that you don't know in particular. So, how do you meet people if you're wary of them? So, that becomes very tricky, and Libra is much more fluid, I think, with social interactions. So, that can be frustrating for you with the sun in Libra, because you may want to reach out to people more, but you feel something is holding you back. And really, it could be your history. If you have trauma in your background, which it could very easily be true if Scorpio's at the ascendant. But the nice thing about what I like and what I respect about Scorpio as a sign, including those with Scorpio rising, is that I don't feel that they ever use their past as a way to feel sorry for themselves. I feel that they are very resilient. You know, the eighth house that Scorpio rules is the house of transformation, and death is a theme of the eighth house. The person with a prominent Scorpio can have many incarnations within one lifetime because of this, and transform themselves into something new. And it's not like a Pisces or a Gemini, where it's kind of the chameleon who doesn't really have a core self, that is just kind of putting themselves out there physically, and so on and so forth. They are people who are doing that deep work that transformation is supposed to be about. Because, anybody can change the way that they look, they can change the way that they act, but it doesn't mean that they have really changed at a fundamental level. And Scorpio is committed to change. So even on the ascendant, the person may be bringing a sense of gravitas to their life. But that can also be a heaviness. And so as you get older, hopefully you kind of shake some of that and you become lighter. You become more trusting. You become more like your Libra sun sign, and therefore more able to achieve the goals that you want, including having a very profound relationship eventually. So, in terms of physical appearance, like I said, the gothic type of look, but also I feel like even people with the sun sign in Libra can be physically attractive. So this could be a combination where you are aware of aesthetics and you want to look physically attractive, even if you're being a punk rock or whatever type of person, that you still want to be cute, you know. Scorpio, well, I think I said all I want to say about the appearance, But I also, was talking about the mannerisms or the demeanor, more like poker face. But what can happen is that the impression that you give is one that is of greater intensity. But when people get to know you, they're, whoa, this person really is funny. They're actually quite lighthearted. They're not so intense that I thought that they were. And you may even, like with relationships, depending on other factors, with your Venus and Mars, because if your sun is in Libra, you could have planets in Scorpio too. And that's going to tip it in the balance of Scorpio and make it more like you are a Scorpio. But if you have inner planets like Venus, Mars, what have you, Mercury in Sagittarius, um, or even Virgo, I guess, you may be more verbal, less tight-lipped. You may be less intense, more social and playful. So, yeah, so it all, you have to put everything together. You can't just isolate things and expect to get an accurate feel for a person's personality. But in terms of professions, this would make for a great actor or actress because the person can be very expressive, but they also, with water at the ascendant, there's always that ability to kind of like channel a character and, embody it. Water is very impressionable, so it's kind of like, and also that, I think of Scorpio as the house, the eighth house is the house of channeling. By the way, your ascendant determines your rulers. So your rulers, there are two rulers, Mars and Pluto. In Vedic astrology, these are considered malefic planets, meaning that they are very challenging. Okay, but here's the deal. Even with challenging planets, it can give a person fortitude. It can make a person stronger. So never believe that just because you have certain characteristics that you are just, doomed to not being able to um, have the kind of life that you want. There's always a positive side to any kind of astrological configuration. And be very aware when you are listening to astrologers and tarot readers and energy readers, or whatever you want to call those other people. And if they are very fatalistic, if they're very negative, if they give you a bad feeling, pay attention to that, because ultimately these kinds of readings should be they should kind of like inspire you more than make you feel like, oh crap, I have this placement and this sucks. That's not how I ever want people to take what I say. So anyway, in relationship, you may give off the impression that you're super intense, maybe super paranoid, or possessive, jealous. And maybe when you're younger, you actually display some of these more negative traits, because these are negative traits in relationships. They're understandable, especially if you've come from trauma, because it's very hard to feel worthy of relationship if you've been abused. It's also very scary to give your heart to someone and fear that they could betray you. I mean, that's true for anyone, but this is especially true for somebody with a prominent Scorpio because because of what it represents. But you have to risk it in order to even get in the ball game. So when you're younger and you're closer to your childhood, you may actually be more influenced by your rising sign, and that can wreak havoc on relationships. I think after your first Saturn return, around the age of 30, you should grow into your sun sign and become much more laid back, much less in need of controlling things. But with Libra, you have to worry about codependency because Libra is very relationship oriented. And sometimes you have to, stand on your own 2 feet and be by yourself and not be in relationship. In this combination, that can be kind of hard because you just naturally gravitate towards that scenario. So keeping that area of life in balance with the rest of your life, in terms of career types of, I think I jumped off. I do that a lot. I was talking about being an actor, but I think you would also be an amazing educator, especially if you're trying to influence children who come from underserved communities because they need people who are survivors, who may have their own story to tell about how they transcended certain circumstances that seemed impossible. Um, and also there's a strong Reformation vibe coming from Scorpio, coupled with a real desire with Libra that life is fair, to spread equality. So working, if you are interested in education, you may be like, you know what, these kids in the suburbs already have been raised with so much. They've been given so much. I'm going to give to communities that need people like me who are conscious, who are aware, you know what I mean? So that might be where you go. I could see a lawyer, Libra is always interested in the law, or a paralegal. But again, trying to stand up for people who are voiceless. But even if you're somebody who finds yourself interested in the law of attraction and personal growth, and if your moon is in Sagittarius or Aries, or it doesn't have to be just those two signs, but like if you have plants in the 9th house, which is Sagittarius house, and just about that positive growth, there's that inspirational figure, and you would make an attractive figure to be able to spread your message. And with Scorpio rising, there's that phoenix rising from the ashes type of vibe that comes from that individual everywhere they go. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.